What's up, everybody? This is hashtag Detail in the Shadow, coming to you with an opinion video. I was going through some older files that I had, some raw files that I made with my 50D, and I had already thought about this, so I said, well, I'll make a quick video about this. I uploaded them in Lightroom just to play around with them, and I always known that the Canon 50D had 11.4 stops of dynamic range, which is the highest on their Canon line so far. And if I am wrong, and if they have corrected that, please let me know in the description box. But 11.4 stops of dynamic range was on the 50D, and that was the 50D was the last Canon camera to not have video incorporated with the still camera. So after they incorporated video, they had to drop down the dynamic range. And I speak of dynamic range so much because, in my opinion, and we can get technical with this, that is really what makes the image beautiful. The stops from the lightest to the darkest and everything in between. That's what really dynamic range is. I like to challenge the camera makers. You know, they have this megapixel war. They go back and forth. We have 16, we have 24, now we're at 36, but they never really advertise their stops of dynamic range. It's only high-end camera makers like Hasselblad and Phase 1 and so on and so forth that really advertise how many stops of dynamic range that comes inherent with the native camera. Because Sony has their DRO, which is their dynamic range optimizer, which really helps, and I actually really love that too. But you know, the Phase 1 and the Hasselblads are up to 13, 14, 12 stops of dynamic range, so that's what really makes the photo gorgeous, aside from the sharpness of the lens, the contrast of the lens. There's many factors: contrast of the lens, megapixel. That only depends on how large you view the photo itself, if you actually make it into a photograph and print it out. But I have printed 30 by 40s from a 10 megapixel, and it looked really good. But like I said, dynamic range, it goes back to the zone system. You can use the zone system to control the dynamic range in the black and white photography. So having, you know, the stops of dynamic range, you don't have things that are blown out, and you can see detail in the shadow. That's, you know, where I get my name from. That's one of the big things in black and white and color, having detail in that shadow, whether it's low light, high light, no matter what time of day, whether you choose to shoot at 6 in the morning, 6 at night, or even 12 in the afternoon, because I don't have those restrictions. I don't say, well, it's 12 noon, the light's really bad. No, you can control that light and make it to look any way you want to once you gain the knowledge of that. But this was just a quick rant video, and thank you, everybody. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. Please continue to follow me on this. Still thinking, working on things to come. Thanks a lot.
Wow.